Hello people, I'm Data and welcome back to my channel. Just the other day we have been talking about the Inner Sphere drop decks, how there were so many options. I even been adding some more mechs here and there, like the Jaeger mech, DE double heavy gauss or the Blackjack triple snubs. But today we're here to talk about the clan drop decks. It isn't quite a nice moment for the clans. This balanced situation reminds me of 2016 when Inner Sphere had like the overpowered quick draws or grasshoppers with LPLs and lasers, and the clans had the laser beam duration nerf. So basically the clans were more or less useless, and in faction play on the Inner Sphere map, the Inner Sphere ended up conquering the entire map, and the clans were left just with their barely with their homeworlds. Balance-wise, we are more or less in the same place in which we were so many years ago. It is heavily and insanely shifted and one-sided in favor of Inner Sphere. This mainly due to the clan double heatsink nerf. So if you're trying to look for a deck that is just as good as the Inner Sphere one, forget about it. There isn't. What I can help you find out is, to realize and to build a deck that is sufficiently strong, barely acceptable. I don't know how to put it. There are very few mechs that are viable, but not because those are strong. Like for example, say the Jaeger mech double heavy gauss. You could just do 4 Jaegers and you're good to go. That it is like that because it's completely overpowered. On the clan side, these mechs are not here because they are overpowered. They are here because all the other ones are trash. That happened, as already said before, because of the clan double heatsink over nerf. So what we have here: long range maps, mid range maps. We are using double stone rhino. Like in terms of long range traders, you could be tempted to use the blood asp with 6CR large, all high mounted. Problem is that again, you don't have enough heat dissipation to handle all that heat. I swear that I have it somewhere. There you go. So you could use ER larges. Of course, you don't really need the jump jets. You don't really need the micro pulses in the arms. Are these heat sinks enough? I don't think they are enough. You're just comparing, this mech with a Battle Master 6-year large. The Battle Master is more durable. It has more agility, and overall, it has a better firing pattern. With this one, you have to cycle through them. With that one, with longer duration on top of that, with a Battle Master, you just two of them and you're done. And in long range trades, phase time, exposure time is everything. I've seen people equipping other torsos, even something in the arms, and they end up with another setup, like 4 more year larges, like 8 in total, more of them. We cross the line of a meme build. Adding more weapons does not make your mech better if you don't have the equipment, the systems to handle and dissipate the heat that those weapons are producing. It's not a 1v1 contest, so you need to understand that in a certain amount of time you need to produce a certain damage output every minute you're playing. If you cannot do that, you're useless, you're gonna lose. So it gets to a point where adding more weapons makes your mech worse instead of better. And this is dictated by how much heat per second you are able to dissipate. By nerfing double heatsinks, they hit exactly this. So you cannot put more, even these weapons, you can barely handle them, and you cannot put more weapons because you just don't have a way to dissipate that heat. So it's just useless. It looks better because it has more guns, but it's weaker. That's why, for me, there are very few solutions that are able to compete these days with what you can find on the Inner Sphere side, like extreme range map like Bora Vault, Alpine Peaks, trading Frozen City domination across the map. On the Inner Sphere side, you can find a Stalker with 10 range, you can find Battlemaster 10 range, you can find a Corsair 10 range, and then all the various ERPPC mechs. On this side, maybe you have the Ghostzilla Annihilator, yes, a lot of Gauss cooldown, but the mounts are making more of a side peeker. This is more of a side peeker. And then PPC got this velocity buff. Gauss rifles should have received that velocity buff as well. Things are moving too fast. You can miss a Gauss rifle. Charge time makes it even more likely to miss a shot. So Gauss is not really reliable. Not as reliable as a PPC or a laser, and you are lacking velocity quirks. So this is an option. The ER large Blood Asp with some small lasers backup is another option. I went this way because, you know, 2 double heat sinks more or less okay. I mean, it's heat capped anyways, but at least this way you can defend yourself in case you get attacked by a light mech. So I went with the RACT because radar deprivation and 5% range, and then a bunch of SPLs in the arms. Another option is the Direwolf. I went with the A because the A has more quirks in the CT. Heat 7.5%. It used to be like that, you know, clans are good per se without quirks, and then Inner Sphere are good with some quirks to, you know, diversify them. Now clans are so massively nerfed that if you don't have quirks, it's trash. So you need to look for quirks even on clan mechs, or at least ECM. Otherwise, it's just straight out useless. So Daryl face CT because of velocity for Gauss. Otherwise, you just can't use Gauss. And then heat 7.5%. I went more ammo, had to remove the 5th laser because again it just doesn't dissipate heat fast enough to allow you to macro the 5th ER large laser. So this is another option. There are other ones like, okay, the Mad Cat double Gauss, what ER large, yeah, okay, whatever. A Battlemaster 6 ER large beats all of them fair and square. Even a Stalker just shits on all of these ones. Another option is the Stone Rhino with 4 PPC high mounts. This is more of a mid-long range trader. It's not an extreme range trader because it doesn't have range or velocity on PPCs. Why did I pick this variant over the other Stone Rhinos that still have PPC quirks? Because they're all mounted. So this is a Hellebore Springs kind of mech. The one you use at 700, 800 meters, maximum 900 meters. Very small phase time. You pick with the tip of the mech, boom, boom, go back and cover. I went with the you know, the only way these days to dissipate heat on these mechs is standard heat sinks. So it's a standard heatsink, but with 46 standard heatsinks. And then we come, of course I was about to forget it, the Warhawk. The Warhawk is good, but again it's a quick play generalist mech because it has low mounts. It's more of a side peeker, fast mover than an extreme range trader. Although it can do fine in extreme range, it's still gonna lose to a Battlemaster or a Stalker. The only one that has a chance of winning and actually even dealing more damage is this one. Problem is, it weighs 15 tons more, and the clan is limited on tonnage more than Innisphere. So clan drop decks have less tonnage than Innisphere, and the counterpart weighs more, so you're basically fucked anyways. It's a 6 CR large, of course, with macro, and 45 standard heatsinks. This is actually even able to produce quite a bit of DPS. It doesn't matter that you don't have perfectly equipped mounts, but at least you can tank some damage, you have some heat, cooldown range, duration quirks. So it's, again, we got to the point where you've nerfed clans so much that without quirks they're trash. It felt such an idiotic move. You're basically multiplying your own work. Like, first you nerf the base level and then you spam quirks. Like, you look like just a bunch of I feel like I'm talking to the cauldron, like a bunch of kids that want to press all the buttons, yoo-hoo, quirk everything, and then for what? We have less diversification that we had in the past. So these are mainly the options for long range. Then, of course, you need to complete the deck. There are very few options. I just go with the mediums and the lights. Mediums, Viper, SRM boat, jump, snipe with SRMs for SRM 6s and just ammunition. And then as for the lights, we have the Adder Prime option. It's a good mid-ranger with 2 PPCs. In the arms, and a Piranha that goes well in pretty much every role, 3 heavy meds and 8 light machine guns. On the A, what's happening here? Why am I skipping most of the heavies and the mediums? Clan heavies are engine limited. By saying engine limited, I don't intend what I say for the Blackjack. The Blackjack is engine capped because it cannot equip a fast engine. On the clan mechs, the problem is the exact opposite. They have locked in extremely heavy, useless engines that don't allow you to equip big weapons. So Laser Vomit, it used to become popular not because it was too strong, but because it was the only thing they could equip, because they had locked engines. By nerfing double heatsinks, you nerf Laser Vomit. That's understandable, but you get to the point where there are no other options left. All clan heavies are dead because the only thing they could do was boating heatsinks and lasers because of small tonnage, and now they don't even have that. We could think about the Night Gear, but again, you're going around, even with whatever build, 13 double heatsinks, which are inferior to the Innisphere double heatsinks. It doesn't have heat quirks, and it has trash mobility. Some of them are okay in terms of agility, somewhat. You could maybe try some Jade Kite builds because of the PPC quirk, range, rate of deprivation, blah blah blah, but still you're going around with an inferior setup. Because again, look at that, you don't have any survival quirks whatsoever. So you have to face Innisphere mechs with like more tonnage than you, because they have more tonnage, and on top of that they have more survival quirks, and this mech is just as big as an assault without any survival quirks, so it's just not an option anymore. You could maybe try a Skull if you're looking for a heavy mech because of the 3 PPC HSL mask and survival quirks. So this one goes past 100 kph, you side peek, Alpha Strike 3 PPCs, go back in cover, 27. Double heatsinks are barely enough to run 3 PPCs even with the 5 heat. That's how sad it is. So basically no heavies, they're all dead, and mediums, same thing. Their weapons produce massive heat, and they just, these mechs would need to pack 30 plus double heat sinks to compensate for the nerf, and they cannot. Like, it just doesn't work that way. So you could do 2 assaults and then a fast medium and a piranha. Mid-range option. Hags. They are damage farmers. I could see the hero Warhammer 2C working with this sort of laser vomit hag build, or even 2 LPLs and 2 hag 30s. Why? Because of the quirks. Again, we are in a moment in which even clan mechs, if you don't have massive quirks, it's just no use. Ballistic cooldown, velocity, so you would have hags with 20% cooldown and velocity on top of that. That's mainly why they would work. You could use this as mid-range also because of good mobility. Medcats, again, they don't have survival quirks, they don't have weapon quirks, they have bad mobility, they're just trash. Just forget about them. The other ones that could maybe work, it's the Blood Asps. Why? Because of ECM. They only survive because of ECM. They don't have quirks, they don't have mobility, they don't have armor, they don't have anything. It's just slap an ECM in, hope for the best, hope that your enemy just has half functioning brain, the other half just doesn't work. Hope that it goes this way, because if your inner sphere enemy has more than half functioning brain, you're dead. Like this mech, it's a good farmer, it's good for farming pugs. 22 doubles, 3 ultras, 3 plasma cannons. It's a mid-range Daka peaker because of ECM, but if the enemy is half intelligent with no clan drop, you just have no hope. It's just no hope. You could rise the tonnage, the clan, you know, pro versus pro. You could put clan drop deck to 300 tons. It's no hope. You're gonna lose. So these are good mid-range options. You could do 4 LPL and a hag instead of a gauss. All the others options just don't work. Like, you could do, yeah, okay, 4 AC-10s, 2 plasmas, but this mech is too slow. It doesn't peak fast enough. So you peak, you shoot, but you get return fire. And you will top out to 600, 700, 800 damage. And you cannot carry the 2k damage with one mech with this one, because it doesn't move. You know, if these PPCs were up high on the torsos, then maybe it would be a good mech. This way, it's just mediocre. It's a mediocre mech. Again, this mech is more of a meme build. It doesn't have any heat dissipation whatsoever. It's too hot. It could be good, but it doesn't compare with Inner Sphere. This one is another decent one. The Marauder, because of the quirks, Yak Gem Chance. I decided to put these ones on two different sides, because so you just don't get side torsos this way. It would be a left side peak, but again, you know, it's a whatever mech. You could go plasmas. You could plasmas on this one, because you know, with the ultras, it's better to put plasma cannons rather than lasers. But still, we are trying to put a patch on a sinking boat. What other mechs do I have? Actually, nothing. The Nova. The Nova is just one of the few decent mediums clan has. The Nova 8 set of 8. Again, why? Because of turbo quirks everywhere. 2 PPCs, a decent DPS, and a left side mounts. I was about to conclude saying, "Oh, hope you guys enjoyed the video." Blah blah blah. To be honest, I didn't. Like, this is depressing. This is depressing. Like these are just the favorite ones. The other ones, they're just all invalid. They're all invalid. This is depressing. Like I've been saying it for years when I was inside the cauldron, that nerfing clan double heatsinks because just they have something against the clans, and they are most of them, not all of them, most of them are just massively retarded. Like they're something like 80 IQ or something like that, and they ended up destroying like 500 mechs because they just hated laser vomit. So instead of just nerfing like 0.5 heat on ER meds, LPLs, ER large, and heavy large with just 4 weapons and maybe hags, they ended up destroying 500 mechs because that's how stupid they are. There is nothing left to say. I mean, these things it's just depressing that there is nothing to do with clans aside of these 2-3 barely sufficient mechs. I'll catch you guys next time.